Good morning, students, and welcome to the supplementary reader Footprints Without Feet. In that, today we are going to learn about the first lesson, A Triumph of Surgery, written by James Herriot. Tricky, a small dog, is pampered and overfed by his rich mistress. He falls seriously ill, and his mistress consults a veterinary surgeon. Does he perform an operation? Does the dog recover? But before we learn more about Tricky, let us learn more about its author, James Herriot. James Herriot was a British veterinary surgeon and writer who used his many years of experiences as a veterinary surgeon to write a series of books consisting of animals and their owners. So, now let us read and find out more about Tricky. I was really worried about Tricky this time. I had pulled up my car when I saw him in the street with his mistress, and I was shocked at his appearance. He had become hugely fat, like a bloated sausage with a leg at each corner. His eyes, bloodshot and rheumy, stared straight ahead, and his tongue lolled from his jaws. Mrs. Pumphrey hastened to explain. He was so listless, Mr. Herriot. He seemed to have no energy. I thought he must be suffering from malnutrition, so I have been giving him some little extras between meals to build him up, some malt and cod liver oil, and a bowl of Horlicks at night to make him sleep. Nothing much really. And did you cut down on the sweet things as I told you? Oh, I did for a bit, but he seemed to be so weak I had to relent. He does love cream cakes and the chocolates, so I can't bear to refuse him. I looked down again at the little dog. That was the trouble. Tricky's only fault was greed. He had never been known to refuse food. He would tackle a meal at any hour of the day or night. And I wondered about all the things Mrs. Pumphrey hadn't mentioned. Okay, children, so now we will look at the words that need explanation. The first word is sausage. Now, sausage is it's finely minced meat which is stuffed inside long cylindrical cases and then divided into small lengths by twisting or tying. The next word is rheumy. Rheumy is a watery discharge from a mucous membrane, especially of the eyes or the nose. Many a times we see because of cold or some other infection, there's a discharge either from the eyes or the nose. And then the word listless means without energy, lacking energy or enthusiasm. So, in this part of the lesson, the narrator starts telling us about how he was worried about Tricky, a pet dog. Now, the narrator, Mr. Herriot, stops his car as he sees Tricky with his mistress on the road. As the narrator is so shocked to see Tricky, he looks like a bloated sausage, extremely fat. He has become fat and his eyes are red and watery. Mrs. Pumphrey starts giving explanations when Mr. Herriot asks about him. She told Mr. Herriot she thought that Tricky was malnourished because he did not have energy and excitement to do anything. She also told him that she used to give him malt and cod liver oil and a bowl of Horlicks at night apart from his regular meals so that he could sleep well at night. And although she gave him so much to eat, she thought he wasn't getting enough to eat. Then the narrator asked her if she had cut down on the sweets as he had asked her to do so, and she said that she did do so for a while. But then she felt he was getting weaker, because of which she had to stop being so harsh on him. And then she also says that she is unable to refuse him cakes and chocolates because those were his favorite things. Then the narrator understood Tricky's problem. The dog was very greedy and could eat at any time of the day. He did not know how to say no to food, even when his stomach was full. The narrator also thought to himself of all the things that Mrs. Pumphrey did not mention when she fed Tricky. Now, let us read on further. Well, he has his little walk. Are you giving him plenty of exercise? Well, he has his little walks with me, as you can see, but Hodgkin, the gardener, has been down with lumbago. So there has been no ring throwing lately. So here the meaning of the word lumbago means muscular pain in the lower part of the back, that is the lumbar region. So when uh, the vet asks Mrs. Pumphrey if she was giving him exercise, he said that yes, she takes him for little walks every day, as he could see right then, and the gardener had not been making him exercise because he was having back pain. I tried to sound severe. Now, I really mean this. If you don't cut his food right down and give him more exercise, he is going to be really ill. You must harden your heart and keep him on a very strict diet. Mrs. Pumphrey wrung her hands. Oh, I will, Mr. Harriet. I'm sure you are right. But it is so difficult, so very difficult. She set off, head down, along the road as if determined to put the new regime into practice immediately. I watched their progress with growing concern. Tricky was tottering along in his little tweed coat. He had a whole wardrobe of these coats for the cold weather and a raincoat for the wet days. He struggled on, drooping in his harness. I thought it wouldn't be long before I heard from Mrs. Pumphrey. The expected call came within a few days. Mrs. Pumphrey was distraught. Tricky would eat nothing, refused even his favorite dishes, and besides, he had bouts of vomiting. He spent all the time lying on a rug panting, didn't want to go for walks, and didn't want to do anything. I had made my plans in advance. The only way was to get Tricky out of the house for a period. I suggested that he be hospitalized for about a fortnight to be kept under observation. So, children, let us look at the portion that we have read. The meaning of the word regime means a prescribed course of exercise and diet which the vet had prescribed to Tricky's mistress. And the word distraught means she was extremely worried. So when the vet realized Tricky's problem, that he was an extremely greedy dog, then he spoke very severely to the mistress, and he told her that if she did not control Tricky's eating habits and increased his exercise, he would fall ill. He also told her that she should stay long and strong and strict with him and put him on a diet. Mrs. Pumphrey accepted that although she knew Mr. Harriet was right, but at times it was very difficult for her to refuse her little pet Tricky anything. But then she left the place as if she was ready to follow the new routine properly. Mr. Harriet was watching them go, and he looked at Tricky walking very unsteadily. The narrator was also looking at the tweed coat that Tricky was wearing. He knew that Tricky had a wardrobe full of these coats and also a raincoat for the rainy days. This line also suggests that Mrs. Pumphrey was a rich lady. She had a lot of money to spend on her pet. But the narrator knew that soon he would receive a call about Tricky falling ill, and sure, it came. In a few days, the call came. Mrs. Pumphrey was very upset because Tricky had stopped eating anything, even his favorite dishes, and was now vomiting frequently. He didn't even want to do anything, neither take a walk or run. And being a veterinary doctor, the narrator knew the only way to get Tricky well was to get him out of the house for a few days. He then suggested to Mrs. Pumphrey that it would be good to get Tricky hospitalized and keep him under observation for 15 days, that means for 2 weeks' time. And upon hearing this, now let us read on further. The, the poor lady almost swooned. She was sure he would pine and die if he did not see her every day. But I took a firm line. Tricky was very ill, and this was the only way to save him. In fact, I thought it best to take him without delay. So here, when the doctor decided to keep Tricky at his hospital, his mistress almost fainted. Swooned means fainted. She was sure he would pine. That means he would miss her so much and die if he didn't see her every day. But the doctor decided being strict with not only Tricky but with her mistress was necessary, as he was very ill, and so he told her that if she wanted to save him, hospitalizing him was the only solution. And so the narrator decided to take him without any delay. Followed by Mrs. Pumphrey's wailings, I marched out to the car carrying the little dog wrapped in a blanket. The entire staff was roused and maids rushed in and out, bringing his day bed, his night bed, favorite cushions, toys and rubber rings, breakfast bowl, lunch bowl, supper bowl. Realizing that my car would never hold all this stuff, I started to drive away. As I moved off, Mrs. Pumphrey, with a despairing cry, threw an armful of the little coats through the window. I looked in the mirror before I turned the corner off the drive. Everybody was in tears. Out on the road, I glanced down at the pathetic little animal gasping on the seat by my side. I patted the head, and Tricky made a brave effort to wag his tail. Poor old lad, I said, you haven't a kick in you, but I think I know a cure for you. So, when the narrator marched off with Tricky in his arms wrapped in a blanket, Mrs. Pumphrey started crying, and the entire staff was up and about ready to give the narrator all of Tricky's things, his day bed, his night bed, his cushions, his toys, rubber rings, his breakfast, lunch and supper bowls, and then realizing that his car there wouldn't be enough place for all these things, the narrator started to drive away, and Mrs. Pumphrey came running there and threw an armful of the little coats through the window. And when the narrator looked back, he saw Tricky trying to wag his tail, and he felt very sorry for him. He said, poor little fellow, you haven't any energy, but I think I know a cure for you. Then let us read on. At the surgery, the household dogs surged round me. Tricky looked down at the noisy pack with dull eyes, and when put down, lay motionless on the carpet. The other dogs, after sniffing round him for a few seconds, decided he was an uninteresting object and ignored him. I made up a bed for him in a warm, loose box next to the one where the other dogs slept. For 2 days I kept an eye on him, giving him no food but plenty of water. At the end of the second day, he started to show some interest in his surroundings, and on the third, he began to whimper when he heard the dogs in the yard. When I opened the door, Tricky trotted out and was immediately engulfed by Joe, the greyhound, and his friends. After rolling him over and thoroughly inspecting him, the dogs moved off down the garden. Tricky followed them, rolling slightly with his surplus fat. Later that day, I was present at feeding time. I watched while Tristan slopped the food into the bowls. There was the usual headlong rush followed by the sounds of high-speed eating. Every dog knew that if he fell behind the others, he was liable to have some competition for the last part of his meal. So, children, the meaning of the word surgery is a place where the doctor in a or a veterinary surgeon treats his patients. So, we will see the explanation of this page. So, when the household dogs at the surgery, the narrator took Tricky and put him down there on the carpet. He lay without moving. The other dogs came there around him and began sniffing and decided that he was an uninteresting object, and they ignored him. So the narrator made up a bed for him in a warm, loose box next to the one where the other dogs slept. And for 2 days, the doctor kept him under observation, giving him absolutely no food but provided plenty of water. And at the end of the second day, he started to look around, and on the third day, he began to feel hungry when he heard the other dogs in the yard. So when the narrator opened the door, Tricky trotted out, walking slowly, and was immediately surrounded by Joe the greyhound, that is a breed of dog, and his other friends. So all of them, they just pushed him over and thoroughly inspected him, and then they moved down the garden. Tricky slowly, rolling slightly with his extra fat, he followed them. And later on that day, when the narrator was there at feeding time, Tristan was the man who fed the dogs. So when Tristan put all the food into the bowls, there was the normal rush for, all the dogs rushed there in order to eat whatever was being given, because every dog knew that if he was slow, then the other dogs would finish their food and then they would come and, eat whatever was left. So let us read on further. When they had finished, Tricky took a walk around the shining bowls, licking casually inside one or two of them. The next day, an extra bowl was put out for him, and I was pleased to see him jostling his way towards it. From then on, his progress was rapid. He had no medicinal treatment of any kind, but all day he ran about with the dogs, joining in their friendly scrimmages. He discovered the joys of being bowled over, tramped on, and squashed every few minutes. He became an accepted member of the gang, an unlikely, silky little object among the shaggy crew, fighting like a tiger for his share at meal times, and hunting rats in the old hen house at night. He had never had such a time in his life. All the while, Mrs. Pumphrey hovered anxiously in the background, ringing a dozen times a day for the latest bulletins. I dodged the questions about whether his cushions were being turned regularly or his correct coat was worn according to the weather, but I was able to tell her that the little fellow was out of danger and convalescing rapidly. Okay, children. So the meaning of the word scrimmages means a rough or confused struggle. And the meaning of the word convalescing is to recover, to get better from an illness. So the first 2 3 days, Tricky just lay there looking around, and then he was thoroughly inspected by all the dogs. And then when he followed them and saw how they were eating, Tricky also took a walk around the bowls, and he licked casually inside one or two of them. The next day, the narrator added an extra bowl, and he was very happy to see him pushing his way towards it because he had been hungry all these days. And from then on, there was no looking back. He kept on progressing rapidly. The doctor gave him absolutely no medicines, but the whole day he ran about with the other dogs. He joined in their fun and play, and he discovered the joy of being pushed over by them. They would they would walk upon him and run, and he would get squashed every few minutes. He would get squeezed by the other dogs, and they accepted him as a friend, as a member of their gang. But he was a very funny looking dog, because all the others were very big and they were very strong and energetic, and he was a small silky little object among the shaggy crew. But now he had become just like them. He fought like a tiger for his share at meal times and hunted rats in the old hen house. And he was having great fun here at the surgery. So, Mrs. Pumphrey, in the meantime, kept on. She was so anxious and concerned about her little pet that she kept on ringing many times in the day, asking about his health. But the doctor kept dodging the questions, and she would ask whether his cushions were being turned, whether he was comfortable enough or not, whether they had, put the correct coat on him or not. And the narrator, the doctor, told her that he was out of danger and he was getting better. Now, let us read on further. The word convalescing seemed to do something to Mrs. Pumphrey. She started to bring round fresh eggs, 2 dozen at a time, to build up Tricky's strength. For a happy period, my partners and I had 2 eggs each for breakfast. But when the bottles of wine began to arrive, the real possibilities of the situation began to dawn on the household. It was to enrich Tricky's blood. Lunch became a ceremonial occasion, with 2 glasses of wine before and several during the meal. So here, so when the narrator told Mrs. Pumphrey that he was convalescing, that means he was getting better, the moment she heard that word, she started to bring around 2 dozen, that means 24 eggs every day at a time. And she said this was to build up her pet's strength. So, instead of giving those eggs to the dog, the doctor and his partners began to have 2 eggs each for breakfast. And then she started sending them bottles of wine, telling them that this was to enrich his blood. And instead of giving the wine to the dog, the doctor, the narrator, began having not only the eggs for breakfast, but he began to have the wine before lunch and several glasses during the meal. So it was a really fine situation from the point of view of the narrator. We could hardly believe it when the brandy came to put a final edge on Tricky's constitution. For a few nights, the fine spirit was rolled around, inhaled, and reverently drunk. There were days of deep they were days of deep content, starting well with the extra egg in the morning, improved and sustained by the midday wine, and finishing luxuriously around the fire with the brandy. It was a temptation to keep Tricky on as a permanent guest, but I knew Mrs. Pumphrey was suffering, and after a fortnight, felt compelled to phone and tell her that the little dog had recovered and was awaiting collection. Within minutes, about 30 feet of gleaming black metal drew up outside the surgery. The chauffeur opened the door, and I could just make out the figure of Mrs. Pumphrey, almost lost in the interior. Her hands were tightly clasped in front of her. Her lips trembled. "Oh, Mr. Harriet, do tell me the truth. Is he really better?" "Yes, he is fine. There is no need for you to get out of the car. I'll go and fetch him." So here, children, let us see the explanation of this part of the lesson. So first of all, we see that Mrs. Pumphrey started sending 2 dozen eggs. Then after a few days, she started sending bottles of wine. And then she started sending brandy. She said that was to make him strong, fit and fine. And so instead of giving the dog all these things, the doctor began having all these things. He started not only having the eggs, the wine, but every night he started, like, drinking the brandy. And he was really happy at this situation. These were days of deep content. That means he was feeling very satisfied because his whole day he was nourished with the extra egg, and his day was improved and sustained by the midday wine. And he finished the day very luxuriously round the fire with the brandy. And because he was getting all these extra perks, the doctor was very tempted to keep Tricky on as a permanent guest. He thought that if I keep this little dog here, then I can be assured that Mrs. Pumphrey will continuously keep sending me all these things, and then I will have no care in the world. But after some time, he did not give in to that temptation of fooling Mrs. Pumphrey. Since he knew that Tricky got better, he gave her a phone call and told her that her dog was fit and fine and that she could come and pick him up. So within minutes of the phone call, Mrs. Pumphrey was outside the surgery in her long and luxurious black car. The chauffeur opened the door, the driver opened the door, and the doctor could make out the figure of Mrs. Pumphrey, almost lost. That means in such a big car, she was the only person sitting down there, and her hands were tightly, caught together in front of her. And she asked him, "Oh, Mr. Harriet, please tell me, is it true? Is my dog really better?" And the doctor reassured her. He said, "Yes, he is fine. There's no need for you to get out. I'll go and get him." Then, let us read on further. I walked through the house into the garden. A mass of dogs was hurtling round and round the lawn, and in their midst, ears flapping, tail waving, was the little golden figure of Tricky. In 2 weeks, he had been transformed into a lithe, hard muscled animal. He was keeping up well with the pack, stretching out in great bounds, his chest almost brushing the ground. I carried him back along the passage to the front of the house. The chauffeur was still holding the door open. So here, as we can see, that as Mrs. Pumphrey was about to step out of the car, the doctor told her not to do so, that he would fetch Tricky. And so he comes back into the house and he looks at all the dogs running around the lawn, and in the midst of all of them, ears flapping and tail waving, was Tricky. In 2 weeks, he had been transformed from being an overfed and a fat little obese sausage. He had turned into a light. That means he had become very, very, he had become very flexible and hard muscled, and he was keeping up very well with all the other dogs. So the doctor, the narrator, carried him back along the passage to the car. The chauffeur was still standing there with the door open, and when Tricky saw his mistress, he took off from my arms in a tremendous leap and sailed into Mrs. Pumphrey's lap. She gave a startled "ooh" and then had to defend herself as he swarmed over her, licking her face and barking. During the excitement, I helped the chauffeur to bring out the beds, toys, cushions, coats, and bowls, none of which had been used. As the car moved away, Mrs. Pumphrey leaned out of the window. Tears shone in her eyes. Her lips trembled. "Oh, Mr. Harriet," she cried, "how can I ever thank you? This is a triumph of surgery." So when the doctor went back into his house and brought Tricky back to the car, the moment he reached there with Tricky in his arms, Tricky gave one jump and jumped inside the car and began to, jump up and down in the car, licking his mistress's face and barking. And she was so surprised to see him full of energy. And during all that excitement, when Tricky was, enjoying being with his mistress once again, the narrator went back into the house and asked the chauffeur to accompany him, and then they brought out all the things that Mrs. Pumphrey had sent for her pet dog Tricky. Toys and cushions and coats and beds and bowls, none of which had been used during the treatment. And then when all the things had been put into the car and the chauffeur was driving away, Mrs. Pumphrey was so full of gratitude. She was so happy that she leaned out of the window. There were tears shining in her eyes and her lips were trembling, that she never expected to see her dog in such fit and fine condition again. So she thanked the doctor and told him, "Oh, Mr. Harriet, how can I ever thank you? That means I have no words which to thank you. This is a triumph. This is a victory of surgery." And truly it was, in a sense, a triumph of surgery. So, children, I hope you have understood this lesson well. What does it teach us? That sometimes uh, pet owners, even though they love their pets so much, they spoil them to such an extent that they have only themselves to blame. So, what we need is love and care, good loving care. Yes, we need to take good care of our pets, but we don't need to, spoil them by giving them things that are not required. We need to be, to have the right kind of balance. You need to give them good food, but make sure you don't overfeed them, and we need to give them plenty of exercise, as we are responsible for their well-being. So, now we will have a look at the question answers of the lesson. What kind of a person do you think the narrator a veterinary surgeon is? And would you say he is tactful as well as full of common sense? The narrator was a wise veterinary surgeon. He knew that Mrs. Pumphrey's pet dog was overfed and sick. The dog had become like a fat sausage eating the wrong food, and he had absolutely no exercise. So he had advised her to stop giving him sweet things and give him more exercise. But she did not follow his advice, and so very soon he fell sick and he stopped eating all food. He tactfully, so the doctor tactfully told her that the dog needed to be taken to his hospital and kept there under observation for a fortnight, that is for 2 weeks. So during that time, he cut down his diet and made him exercise and play with the other dogs, and that made him into a very, hard muscled animal. He was tempted to keep him for a longer time, as he and his staff enjoyed the eggs, the wine, and the brandy that was sent for the dog's recovery. But he also knew that Mrs. Pumphrey was missing her pet, and that's the reason why he asked her to come and collect him. The second question: do you think Tricky was happy to go home? What do you think will happen now? Well, Mrs. Pumphrey's pet dog Tricky stayed there at Dr. Harriet's surgery for a fortnight. And with a proper diet and exercise, he became a very lithe and hard muscled animal. He then called Mrs. Pumphrey to come and collect him. Tricky was very happy and excited to go back home. The minute he saw his mistress, he jumped and sat on her lap. The doctor wished that Mrs. Pumphrey would take care of his diet and not make him sick again by overfeeding him with the wrong foods. However, her blind love could make her indulge the dog in foods not meant for him, and the lack of exercise could make the dog seriously sick again. Do you think this is a real life episode or mere fiction? Or is it a mixture of both? Some parts of the story do seem like fiction to some extent, but there are instances where there are rich pet lovers who feel that they can show love towards them by feeding them, by their clothing, and by giving them all the possible things they can. They lack knowledge of what the pet really needs. They give them wrong foods and maintain vast wardrobes for them. When the pets fall sick, they call the doctors to cure them. A dedicated surgeon like Dr. Harriet would be difficult to find, who would hide the fact from the owner and take the pet on his own risk for a fortnight. Also, it is far fetched that the vet would touch the food sent in the name of the pet. Okay, children, I hope you have understood this lesson well. Do read it a few times so that you can, understand the language. Your vocabulary will improve if you continue reading it a few times. Thank you and have a nice day.